Fiction writers, yesterday we started pre-writing a brand new type of genre called realistic fiction. And remember, a realistic fiction story is a story where you get to use your imagination and you get to pretend up an imaginary character that could be real, right? These are not about like unicorns and dragons and monsters. They have to be things that happen in real life. And then we get to have fun and imagine all the fun adventures that these characters get to go on and the trouble that they get into and how we can get them out of trouble. So yesterday, as a quick review before we jump into our connection piece today, is that we make up characters when we do fiction writing. So we make up the characters, we give our characters a name, and then we get to imagine all of their adventures. Then we touch and tell what's going to happen in each part of our story, and then we sketch and we write out our story across our pages. And this is what we're going to start to talk about today. But before we jump into that, I know that we learned a lot of new things yesterday in this idea of imagining stories. Some of it was review, but some of it may be new, and some of it might be a little bit hard for us. But I want us to remember that when we are first grade writers, we have a can-do writing attitude. That means we don't give up the first time we get stuck on something, right? Like, I know that I had a hard time figuring out how to change my inner tube of my bike tire when I first started to ride bikes. And I had to practice over and over and over again. I had to watch videos. I had to have Mr. John help me. I had to just practice until finally I was able to do it all by myself. And it took a lot of time, but I feel really proud of myself that I didn't just run to like a bike shop and be like, I can't do it. Can you just fix it for me? Because I want to have a can-do attitude and make sure that I can do things on my own, especially now in remote learning. When Miss Arbuckle and Miss Quinn aren't right there in the classroom with you, you have to take these can-do attitudes and help yourself. So we're going to talk about that today a little bit too, and what we can do when we get stuck. So today I want to teach you that writers that take charge of their own writing and they give themselves orders. They think about the work that they need to do next, and they almost whisper those assignments to themselves, such as, now I need to do this. Next, I should try out, oh, maybe I could do this. And they help and guide themselves through the writing process to get some really great ideas. So we're going to try that out today. So as a reminder, yesterday, we came up with a pre-write for our story. You were able to come up with characters, the setting, the problem, and then start to make a outline, a pre-write of what's going to go on each page. Well, today your job is you are only going to be writing page 1 of your book today, because I want us to make sure that we are solid with the introduction of our story to us. So I'm really going to be focusing on page 1. Oh, I take it back. You can do page 2 today, 1 and 2. So we're going to be focusing on page 1 and 2 today. Okay? And as I am writing and thinking about my ideas, I'm going to show you how I thought through my process, okay? And some things that you can be helping yourself while you are writing is if you don't know what to do next and you've written like one sentence and you're like, oh, what else can I put on that page? Try asking yourself these questions. What could your character say, right? You can make your character talk. What could your character do? Is there another action that they could do on that page? What trouble did your character get into? And actually pretend to be your character. Like, close your eyes and imagine you are that character and you're there. Think about how that character would feel. I'm going to add that too. That's a great one. How does your character feel? Because then you can always say that to the audience too to help them feel like they're part of that story. So today I'm going to be really focused on page 1 and 2. Now remember, I can't forget what I learned in my small moment writing. Right? Those were stories about ourselves. I can still start my first page in an interesting way to hook the reader, right? I can start with a sound. I can start with the setting. I can start with the character talking. Well, today, you are going to be seeing this in your Seesaw account. This is the title page. You don't have to do the title page today. If you already have a title to your story, feel free to do it. But if you don't, you can leave a blank for now. But on page 1, so you'll have lines, but I typed, so I took the lines away. So the rest of your pages will look like this in Seesaw, okay? And remember, you're only doing pages 1 and 2 today. So you are going to take a look at my first page. So I decided to start my writing with a sound, an onomatopoeia. So I said meow, meow, because remember, my character has a pet cat named Buttons. And I said, Penny loved to play in her treehouse. Her treehouse was in her backyard. It was green and had a ladder up to the door. She loved to play with her orange and brown cat, Buttons. They would play for hours. They played hide and seek and ate yummy snacks together. So I could think about, is this page done? Could I add more? Could I think about how the characters feel? Could I think of something else they would do? Maybe something they would say? Maybe I could write something like Penny would say. So maybe I could write on here, Penny looked at Buttons and said, "You are the best cat ever." And that could be something else I could add. And then I could say, Buttons looked at Penny and smiled. They loved spending time together. So that's a pretty fun page. And even though I thought I was done writing, I remembered that I could go back and ask myself, what could the characters say? What else could they do? I could pretend to be that character and think about how they feel to add on to my page. And let's go back to our pre-write and make sure we got everything. So she's a kid who plays in a tree fort. Her cat is Buttons. They play hide and seek, and they like take naps together. I didn't write that in there. Maybe I could add that in there. I could go back. They play hide and seek and eat yummy snacks together. They also loved napping together. Awesome. And then on page 2, we have they are playing a game of hide and seek in the tree fort. They had just enjoyed lunch. Penny had a sandwich and Buttons had tuna. So let's go ahead and take a look at what I've written on page 2 so far. It says, Penny loves spending time in her treehouse. 1, 2, 3, come out wherever you are, Buttons, Penny said. As Penny searched for Buttons, an unexpected visitor was nearby. Dun, dun, dun. Penny found Buttons hiding behind a box. She picked up Buttons, and they both heard a loud growling noise coming from below the treehouse. Dot, dot, dot. Because on my next page tomorrow is when I'm going to write the real problem, the trouble in the story. Right now, we're just getting a sneak peek and hooking and pulling the reader in to wanting to know more about what's going to happen on our next page. And so on this page, let's see, I made my character talk. I gave some actions of what they were doing, right? I had them, she picked up Buttons. Okay, so another action that they did. And maybe I could put how they felt before they heard that noise. So I could say, Penny and Buttons were having so much fun together. Then they heard a loud growling noise coming from behind the treehouse. So that is giving us a lead-in to what we are going to be writing tomorrow, which is the trouble that they will be getting into. So today, first grade, I modeled for you how I can have a can-do writing attitude by always asking myself, what could the character say? What could they do? What's the trouble? Pretend you are that character. So that way you can add more and more onto your story. Now remember, today you are only going to be writing page 1 and 2. So if you are writing in Seesaw, just page 1 and 2, and if you printed out the writing paper, just page 1 and 2, and then take a picture and upload it so I can take a look and provide any feedback. Remember to try to hook the reader into your introduction and follow your outline so that way you don't forget any really important details. So remember, our first page is introduction to the characters and what they like and what they do. Page 2 is continuing of what's happening in the story and learning about our characters and maybe giving a sneak peek to the problem, okay, first grade? So I'm really excited to see you take the next step in our fiction writers where we are sketching and writing out part of our story. So we'll come back tomorrow to talk about the problems that we're going to be writing about in our story and how we can make those come to life. All right, so go ahead and get started on page 1 and 2 today. Bye, first grade.